Welcome back, kids. So, in this previous classes, what we learned in this chapter about the photosynthesis, what is the structure of leaf, what are the different parts of the leaf, what is the function of stomata, and how can we uh, taste the presence of starch in a leaf. Now, let us see some question answer related to this. In which of the following plant seeds are edible? So, the answer will be B. We can eat B. To prepare food, plants does not require what? It does not require oxygen because plants are giving oxygen. Now, the result of starch taste is not clearly visible if, as we learned in previous classes, it was due to chlorophyll. So that's why we were bleaching chlorophyll. Now, the next question is fill in the blanks with correct option. Food is prepared by the plants in the form of, so we learned that it was in the form of glucose, and the extra food gets stored in the form of what? Starch. So option C is the answer. Now which of the following statement is incorrect? So here the plants depend on animals for their food is wrong because we know that plants make their own food. Now we will see adaptation in plants. So see, adaptation in plants, natural home of a plant is called habitat. So what is habitat? A natural home of a plant is called its habitat. Each habitat has its own characteristics. That is, some places are warm, some are hot, some are cold, and some are very cold. Okay, so some places get a lot of rainfall while others are dry. These are the different atmosphere, temperature, pressure, okay, in which the plants grow. Now the plants have special features to live successfully in their respective surroundings and have adjusted themselves to different habitats on earth. So plants have special features so that they can adjust it themselves according to different habitats. Now, the desert plants try to save whatever water is available and hence have adjusted well with low water condition. This process of adjusting or changing to suit the environment is called adaptation. So, the process of adjusting or changing to suit the environment is called what? Adaptation. Now, the second, adaptation in terrestrial plants. So plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. And there are different landforms like plains, hills, deserts, swamps, etc. There are different types of plants growing in each of these habitats. Now see plants growing in the plains. So plains have a moderate climate. That means what? Neither too hot nor too cold. That is called moderate. The climate is warm to hot in summer and cold in winter. The rainfall is just sufficient for plant growth. And the climate is well suited for plant growth. Many kinds of plants grow here because the climate is suiting to all these plants for growth. So that's why many plants are growing here. Trees growing in the plains have lots of branches. For example, neem, peepal, mango, banyan, etc. These are what? Plants growing in plains. Now, most trees growing in plains usually shed their leaves in winter to protect themselves from the cold weather and get new leaves again in spring. So, what they are doing? Many plants are growing in plains. They usually shed their leaves in winter. And to why they are shedding? Just to protect themselves from the cold weather and get new leaves again in the month of spring. Now, such trees are called deciduous trees. So, those plants which again gain leaves in spring, they are called what? Deciduous leaves. Now, oak, maple, elm, apple, etc. are the example. Certain trees do not shed their leaves and remain green throughout the year. Such trees are called evergreen trees. So there are also certain trees which never never left their trees. Okay, so these trees they never shed their trees leaves So they are called what? They are called the evergreen trees. Now, for example, some varieties of neem plant. In plains where it rains heavily, tall and thick trees like teak, rubber, etc., and some short trees and climbers, example lianas, grow. Such areas are called rainforest, which are home to many animals. So in plains there are many plants also where, who grow on in the rain heavily tall and thick trees. So they are what teak and rubber plants and some short trees and climbers like lianas grow. Such areas are called rainforest which are home to many animals. Most rainforests are found in South America, Asia, Africa and Australia. So these trees like mango tree, people tree, sugarcane, teak, these are the examples. Now plants growing on hills. So the climate on hills and mountain is cold to very cold. During winter there is snowfall in some areas. Therefore the plants growing on hills are well adapted to such weather conditions because on hills there is much more cold. Now see here the pine tree needle like leaves and cone of a pine. So it's what woody cone and this is what needle like leaves. Now the sloping shape of trees helps to slide off the snow easily. That's why they have this needle like leaves. This helps to prevent damage to the plant and its parts due to extreme cold. Leaves are needle shaped with waxy coating. This helps to prevent any damage from the snow. Now the leaves are needle shaped with waxy coating. This helps to prevent any damage from the snow. These trees have woody cones instead of flowers. That is why they are called coniferous trees. The cones are very hard and bear seeds inside them. Example pine, spruce, cedar, fir, etc. Now see most of the conifers are evergreen trees. Example pine, spruce and some conifers are deciduous trees. Okay. Now see plants growing in deserts. So climate in deserts is hot, dry and dusty. There is shortage of water. In spite of all these disadvantages, plants grow in deserts with certain special features. Now, what are the certain features? Let's see. Certain plants like acacia or babul, also called kikar, have small leaves. Why? To prevent water loss through transpiration. That's why they have very small leaves. Now, some plants such as date palms have strong and hard leaves, which help them to survive in hot and dry deserts. Now, see the tree acacia tree, date palm, and cactus. Now, just have a quick look at Olympiad bite. So, desert oak found in Australia has roots that are 30 times longer. How much? 30 times longer than its trunk. You know why? Because the roots go very deep into the ground to reach water. This water is then stored in the trunk. When there is no water in the desert, local people put thin pipes into the trunk of this tree to drink water. Such an interesting fact. Yes. Now see, certain plants like mesquite tree have roots that grow down up to 20 meters under the ground in search of water. Again, Olympiad bite. In some desert plants, the stomata are found deep into the leaves rather than on the surface of the leaves. Hence, they are called sunken stomata. What they are called? Sunken stomata. This reduces water loss through stomata. Now, plants growing in swamps or marshes. So, marshes have clay soil with plenty of water. The soil is sticky and does not have enough air for the roots of the plants to breathe. To withstand these problems, the trees growing in marshy areas have roots growing out of the waterlogged soil to breathe air alongside normal, underground roots. Such roots are called breathing roots or pneumatophores. So what we learn that to withstand these problems. Which problem? The marshy clay soil. So the trees growing in marshy areas have roots growing out of the waterlogged. Okay, they are coming out now to breathe air alongside normal. Why they are coming out? To breathe air. Underground roots. Such roots are called what? Breathing roots or pneumatophores. Now, mangrove trees grow in marshes. Example: Sundari tree, a mangrove tree found in Sundarbans. Now, plants growing in sea coast. Now, see here, plants growing in sea coast. The coastal area have hot and wet climate. Trees growing in coastal areas should be able to withstand salty water, strong winds, and heavy rainfall. These are what examples are: coconut tree, pepper plant. Now see, the trees growing here are usually tall and straight. They have a crown of giant feather-like leaves, which allow the wind to pass through. So have you seen coconut tree? How its top is just like a crown. They are adapted to grow well in salty water. Their fruits and seeds are scattered by water. Such examples are trees of coconut and pepper. Now see, adaptation in aquatic plants. So plants growing in water, ponds, lakes, seas, oceans are called aquatic plants. What are aquatic plants? Which are growing in ponds, lakes, seas and oceans. Aquatic plants are of three types: fixed, floating and underwater plants. First is what? Fixed plants. So the roots of such plants are much reduced and are fixed to the mud at the bottom of the pond. The stems are long, hollow, light and flexible so that they stay afloat and can bend easily with the waves of water and do not get broken or uprooted. Second is what? Their leaves are broad and flat, which help in staying afloat and to get enough air and sunlight for photosynthesis. Stomata are on the upper side of the leaves so that they can breathe easily. Mainly the stomata are the back side of the leaves, the downside of the leaves are found. But here in these plants, these are found mainly on the upper side of the leaves. The leaves of fixed plants have a waxy coating on their surface so that water cannot stay on them. This prevents them from rotting or shriveling up. Some examples are water lily and lotus. See, lotus. Now see the floating plants. So these plants float freely in water as they have a spongy body. How their body is? Spongy. Body filled with air. Their spongy body is filled with air. Now they are not fixed at the bottom of the water body. Their root just float below the water surface. They are small and light in weight. Some examples are duckweed, that is Wolfia, water lettuce, pistia, and water hyacinth. These are the examples of floating plants. Now, see here. See, this is what duckweed, and that is what water hyacinth. Now, we will learn underwater plants. So, some plants like hydrilla and tape grass remain completely submerged in water. So, they are called what? Underwater or submerged plants because they are completely submerged in water. Now, can see the hydrilla and here see the tape grass. These are the submerged, totally submerged plants. Now, these plants have thin and narrow leaves with flexible stems to withstand water current. Hydrilla has tiny leaves and the leaves of tape grass are ribbon like. Second is what? Their roots are fixed to the bottom of the plant. Third, the leaves of underwater plants have no stomata at all. They don't have any stomata. They breathe the dissolved oxygen through their body surface. So how they breathe? They breathe The dissolved oxygen which is dissolved in the water, they breathe from that only. Now we will do self-test. So mangrove plants grow their roots above the soil because we learn why? Because the soil does not have sufficient air. That's why their root comes up above the soil. The picture shows the parts of a tree grown on hills where X represents the tough leaves of the tree. Which part of a tree growing in plains Y can be compared to? So which part of a tree growing in plains Y can be compared to what? It's what? We learned that it's a fruit. Now third, plank is the process of losing water from the stomata of the leaves. I know you all know the answer. That is what? Transpiration. Now, photosynthesis in cactus is carried out by stems because we just learned that they don't have leaves. Yes, that that became what? The stem became very thicker and they have what? Thorns. Now, which of the following plants does not have stomata? So it's what? It's hydrilla. Just now we learned that they are what? Underwater plants, submerged plants, and they don't have any stomata. Now see, unusual plants, which are not usual. Plants are primarily known for their green color due to chlorophyll and their self-dependence for food. However, there are certain plants which show different type of nutrition. So here we know that plants are independent. They are making their own food and they are not dependent on anyone for their food. But there are few plants which are bit different from these normal plants. Let's see. First is insectivorous plants. So there are some plants which eat insects. These plants eat what? Insects. Such plants are known as insectivorous plants. These plants are green in color and make their own food, but they grow in soil which is poor in mineral, that is what? Nitrogen. So why they are taking? Because in the soil where they grow, they are poor in minerals, especially nitrogen. So they trap and eat insects to fulfill their nutrient requirement. Some examples are sundew, Venus flytrap, and pitcher plant. Now next is what? In pitcher plant, the leaf is modified into a pitcher. Okay, see here, it's just like a pitcher. Now, so what they are doing? What they do? So see here, so they are modified into a pitcher with a lid which can open and close. So see here the pitcher plant, how the pitchers are here and its lid is also, which can open and close. The pitcher is filled with a special nectar, digestive liquid. Whenever an insect comes to feed on this nectar and sits on the edge of the pitcher, the lid closes and the insect is trapped inside. The insect gets digested from which the plant can obtain its mineral nutrition. Got it? Now, see here, the leaves of Venus fly. Here, see. The leaves of the Venus flytrap are like boxes with hinges. They have long hair along the edges. When an insect touches the hair, the leaf closes rapidly. They closes rapidly, trapping the insect inside. The insect gets gradually digested. Now next is what? It's a fungi. So fungi are organisms that cannot make their own food by photosynthesis as they do not have chlorophyll. They absorb nutrients from dead and decaying plants, animals, or stale food. They are also called saprophytes. Okay, so why fungi can't make their food? Because they don't have what? They don't have chlorophyll. So they can't trap the sunlight. Yes, that's why they absorb nutrients from dead and decaying plants, animals, or stale food, and that's why they are called as saprophytes. Now we will see here. The examples of saprophytes are what? Molds and mushrooms. These are the some examples of fungi. So see here the Olympiad bite. Sometimes bread slices change color when you keep them for longer time at room temperature. This is because of the growth of molds on them. Have you noticed that? Now, onward, just notice, is your braid getting green in color after keeping for a long time? That means what? Molds are growing on that. Now, see, usage of plants. Plants are producers. What are they? They are called producers because they produce their own food. They produce food in the form of fruits, vegetables, pulses, grains, spices, nuts, etc. that are required by animals to survive. Now, plants produce oxygen during the day by the process of photosynthesis, which is used by animals for breathing. Plants provide us with medicines, oils, rubber, wood, paper, etc. Plants such as cotton, jute, and flax provide us with fibers used to make clothes, bags, etc. Plants maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide gases in atmosphere. Plants help to beautify our surroundings. Bamboo plants are tall plants. They are used for making furniture, mats, baskets, etc. Young bamboo shoots are used to prepare food items like curry, pickles, etc. It has high nutritive value. Got it? It has what? High nutritive value. So, kids, I hope that you understand this whole chapter and you can make all the questions answers now correctly. So for this, just go through the both first class part 1 and part 2. If you like and subscribe this, just like and subscribe your own channel so that you can't miss a single bite.